Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This was a highly requested video and it's all about the brand new Jane Iredale Pure Match Concealer. I talked about this in my favorites last month, asking if y'all wanted to see a separate video on it, and then I also posted a very short reel showing how I use this concealer on Instagram, and a lot of comments were saying they can't wait for a YouTube video. So that is what I am doing today. I will be showing you swatches. I'm going to show you how I use it and tell you about it, all the good stuff. So let's get into it. This is how the concealer looks. To my knowledge, recollection, memory of all things Jane Iredale, this is the first concealer that has been launched within their line that was an actual doe foot applicator, or in this like mainstream concealer type of component. They have the brush concealer that you click up, that's more for brightening. Then they also have the concealer in a tube that I talk about a lot using for corrector, and that is more for correcting and under the eyes. What makes this different is that it is for all of the above, everything that I've talked about, but also for the rest of your face, for concealing imperfections, for using as a foundation, for highlighting, for contouring, for bronzer. It's kind of a one-size-fits-all type of product. This retails for $30. There is 5 ml of product and they offer 16 shades. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do before I show you how I use it is pop in the swatches. They don't have names, they have numbers. So as you see these swatches, it will be from 1 to 16. Going from left to right. So this first picture is the first 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 going from left to right. This is taken in a window with only natural daylight. Pause the screen at any time if you want to be able to see what will work best for you according to the swatches. The second slide is going to be shades 7 through 11 going from left to right. So these are more of the medium shades, whereas the first slide was more of the light shades. And then the final slide is going to be more of the tan to deep shades going from 12 to 16 left to right. So there are plenty of shades to choose from. I do think it's a good range, and how they suggest that you use this is using 3 different shades on your face. One for like a highlighting shade, one for more of like a foundation type of shade, and then one for a bronzer contour shade. Obviously, you don't have to buy 3. You can just pick one for contour, or one for highlighting, or one for foundation. But I'm gonna show you all 3 today. So on my Instagram post, I put all 3 of them on at once, and then I blend it out from there. Definitely something you can do, but I'm gonna take it step by step this time. In the video on Instagram, I used 7W for my concealer shade, my highlight shade, but today I think I'm gonna use 6N. These do come in warm and neutral undertones. There are no specified cool undertones, but if you are more cool undertone or tend to go for that when you're shopping for concealers, I would just be sure you picked a neutral undertone. So this is 6N, and I'm just gonna put a little bit right here where I would normally put concealer. I do have a tad bit of corrector on, but this does have a medium buildable coverage. So even if you do have dark circles, it's gonna have a good amount of coverage, which I think you'll be able to see as I blend it out. So I put a little bit under my eyes. I'm gonna put a little bit up here, a little bit down my nose, and then I woke up with this really painful breakout right on the like indent of my chin right there. Whew. So I definitely need that to cover. So I definitely need that to be covered up. And then I am gonna take the Jane Iredale blending contour brush and start blending that out. So again, and I'm gonna keep it to where I applied it. I'm not gonna put it all over my forehead. But in the video, I did this all together. If you do that, just be sure you blend out the lighter shades before you blend out the contour shades, or else you're gonna get a bronzed under eye. They blend out super easy. They do have a soft matte finish. In fact, someone commented on my Instagram video asking how this compared to the soft matte foundation, which I do think I'm gonna put or do a side by side If I have done that before I put this video up, I will put down below what I thought about it. Okay, so that is blending out the highlighting shades. I do like that shade. 7W also works well, but again, it's warmer, so it's gonna pull a little bit more yellow, but 6N also works as well. So now I'm gonna pick out an actual foundation shade to cover some of these parts that I didn't get with the highlight shade. And for that, I'm gonna use the same shade that I used in the Instagram reel, and that is 8N. So again, I'm just gonna kind of put it on the areas that I didn't put the highlight. Maybe a little bit up there. I mean, it's very customizable, which really any foundation is, but using the 3 different shades like this gives you the freedom to decide where you want that highlight, where you want that bronze contour, where you want coverage anywhere else. You may just want the highlight and contour. You may not care about coverage anywhere else. You may not need coverage anywhere else. That's the, you know, beauty of a customizable system. So just going to take that same brush, no matter what brush you're using, it's really, as long as you go light to dark, it's no need to change brushes. It's not something that dries down super fast. I don't feel like I have to be super quick in doing these steps for fear of it drying before I can get to it to blend it out. So something to keep into consideration. I appreciate that. Sometimes there's a time and a place for a formula like that, but for me, I prefer something that has a little bit of work time into it. And now we are gonna go into a bronzing shade for me. Now the website says to go 1 shade lighter for your highlight shade, 1 shade darker for your bronzing shade. I go many shades darker for my bronzing shade, and I went a couple shades darker for my foundation shade. So it's up to you. That's why I did the swatches, because I really think it's gonna help determine what shade you want. I'm using 14N for my bronze and contour. And you know, you don't need a lot of this to get a good amount of color to show up, but I'm just gonna start with that. You know, I'm not a nose contour. I don't feel like nose contouring is a one size fits all, because not everybody needs it, and I'm not someone that feels like I need it. I have a pretty skinny, narrow nose. So just because you see someone else do it does not mean it's really necessary for your face. And I'm not contouring my face right now. I'm really bronzing it up. If I was contouring, I would be a little bit more precise about where I blend out both my cheek color and my forehead, but I really just like to use this step and these colors to warm up the face versus change my face shape. I'm pretty content with my face shape. I don't need to change it. Plus I have a very long face, and so if I contour it, it tends to make it look even longer. So again, same brush, and then if I have any left over, I'll bring it down here, but I didn't want to put any like excess product on it. So I wanted to show you, I'm gonna add a little bit of powder to this, but this is not like a flat matte. I mean, I think that's very apparent looking into my viewfinder right now, and I think it's gonna come across on camera that it is absolutely not a flat matte product at all. It's not the most moisturizing concealer either, but I still think if you have dry under eyes, this is gonna be fine. It is not drying either. Good coverage. I really like the effect. I like those 3 colors together. 1 brush, super fast to blend out. And quite honestly, you don't have to set this if you don't want to. And I'm not gonna set everywhere, but I do like a little bit of a powder on my face. I'm gonna set my under eyes first, and then we'll finish off with a couple of more products that make it a super fast and easy look. And for that, I'm gonna use 2 more Jane Iredale products, the same ones that I used in the video on Instagram, the Jane Iredale blush stick in Fervor. This is my favorite of their blush sticks. I love this color. It is more matte. It's not super shimmery, but it's a really pretty peachy shade. And again, I'm using that same brush. This is another reason this goes so fast, is because I don't need to get a ton of brushes out. I'm just gonna pat that on my cheek. I love this color, y'all. I don't use it enough. I'm gonna use my Purpressed base in Golden Glow and my handy brush. And I'm not gonna apply this like I apply it if I'm using it as a foundation. I'm using it more as like a powder today. So I'm really just kind of pressing it in the T-zone, which is where I want the least amount of shine, and then just up the bottom of my cheek. And then to finish it off, I'm gonna take my glow stick from Jane Iredale in Eclipse, which is my favorite of the highlights, and just tap it, even though you can tell I don't really need it, but what's a little more highlight? Never hurt anything. And then I'm just gonna pop on some gloss. This is the Beauty Counter Bare Shimmer. I already had on a little bit of eyeshadow and mascara, and I am done. That is super fast, especially when I'm not talking through it. And let me tell you, I wore this, I've been wearing this a couple of days in a row. The first day I wore it was the day that I did my Instagram reel, and I was kind of flabbergasted by how flawless my skin looked all day long. All day long. It's very long wearing. It's very breathable and lightweight because you can see I didn't use a ton of product on my face. A little goes a long way. It blends out real easily, and it just leaves a gorgeous finish. See, it's not matte. It's still got that really pretty skin glow. Of course, the highlight helps with that. But it's really pretty. Very, very easy to use. Very multifunctional. I know some people think I'm going to give it an A++ just because it's Jane Iredale, but I'm not. I'm giving it an A++ because it's really, really good. I really like this. I was, again, blown away by how it looked. Now, a couple of people asked me how this compares, both in my DMs on Instagram and in comments, how this compares to the Fenty stick that I had said that I love so much. I don't use the Fenty stick as a concealer, so it's hard for me to compare the two. I know this is something that I use as foundation, and the Fenty stick is a foundation, but I still feel like they're pretty different products. I think if you're going to get anything, maybe get the Jane, because you can use it for concealer and foundation. The Fenty, the color would not work for me for concealer that I have personally, and I don't think that I would get the coverage that I desired using it as a concealer. So it's hard for me to compare the two because of those couple of reasons. I love both of them. I'm glad I have both of them. But again, I was just overly impressed with how this wore and looked all throughout the day. But hopefully this was helpful. Again, you don't have to get all three. I do have a 20% off code at Harbin House that's good all the time for Jane Iredale, so you would be able to get these for $24 each versus $30. I'll put that link down below. Hopefully the swatches helped you. Hopefully this review helped you. If you have any specific questions, let me know. So much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.